These are actors who got paid for doing nothing. So Bob Hoskins got paid $200,000 just to be a backup for the Untouchables if Robert De Niro wasn't able to do it. Even crazier is Johnny Depp, who got paid $16 million for one scene in Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore because he was forced to resign after legal controversies but was still owed his full amount. Even more than this was Nicolas Cage, who was paid $20 million for Superman Lives despite the fact that it was scrapped because of his airtight contract. Marlon Wayans was cast to play Robin in Batman Returns but was later cut from the script, but actually still got paid the full amount and even continues to receive residual checks to this day from the Batman franchise. Paul Rudd shot a scene for Bridesmaids that was scrapped, but he still received $1 million, as did Shailene Woodley for The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was also scrapped but resulted in millions for her. Speaking of Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire is paid the full amount of his contract for his role in Life of Pi, despite the fact they decided to recast him last second because he was too famous and thus distracting from the movie. And finally, Julia Roberts got paid $3 million for appearing for just 6 minutes in Valentine's Day, making her $8,000 per second, which is one of the highest actress payments of all time. Pretty cool, right? These are actors that hate their own movies. So Robert Pattinson outwardly trashes the Twilight Saga, even on the press tour, talking about how the story was weird and disgusting and how he mindlessly hated the films without even seeing them. George Clooney spent decades apologizing for his role in Batman and Robin as he believes it killed the franchise, while Halle Berry openly despises her role as Catwoman and even accepted the Razzie Award for Worst Actress in Person and acknowledged how trash it was. Channing Tatum regularly reminds people that he was forced to make G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra as part of a 3-movie deal with Paramount, and he claims that he hates it. Similarly, Alec Guinness hated his role in Star Wars because of the cringy dialogue, and he would only sign autographs for fans if they promised to never watch the movie again. Michael Caine famously hates the Jaws sequel, Jaws: The Revenge, and calls it terrible, while Jessica Alba almost quit acting because of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer because her experience on set was so horrible. And finally, Mark Wahlberg claims to have only taken on the role in The Happening because he wanted to play a science teacher, but admits today that it's one of the worst movies ever created. I didn't see it, but there's no way it's that bad. These are animals that are disappearing. So bumblebees are down nearly 90% over the last 20 years as a result of pathogen spillover from greenhouses and genetic isolation. In fact, depending on the 2026 conservation effort's success, bumblebees could be extinct from the northern half of the United States in just 3 years. Snow crabs are down 80% since 2018, with over 10 billion snow crabs disappearing as a result of a heat wave that raised their metabolism in the hotter water. Unfortunately, many of them couldn't find enough calories to stay alive and died from starvation. Firefly populations are down 50% across species because of artificial light pollution that makes it impossible for males to see the mating flashes of females at night to reproduce, ending their reproductive cycle. Hummingbirds are down 80% over the last 50 years because of climate change that changed the bloom period, leaving hummingbirds with no food after they finish their 1,000-mile migration, leading to starvation. And finally, over half of the European eel's population has disappeared because of dams and turbines that block their migration path, on top of hunting that has decimated their population. You hate to see it. These are animals that are surprisingly deadly. So snails are responsible for over 200,000 deaths every year since they carry a parasitic worm that contaminates water and is fatal to humans. Dogs too actually kill about 35,000 people per year, mainly from bites that result in rabies, either through the transmission of Lyme's disease or from all the accidents caused. Deer can technically be quite deadly, killing hundreds of humans per year. Technically though, hippos are actually the deadliest large land mammals, killing roughly 500 people per year thanks to their high aggression levels. The slow loris is the only venomous primate that has glands on its elbow that produces a toxin that can cause flesh-rotting infections in humans. Platypuses also actually have venomous spurs on their feet that can kill but will cause excruciating pain in humans as well that last for weeks. Other animals that accrue hundreds of human kills per year include elephants and cows, both usually from trampling. Interestingly though, moose are surprisingly one of the deadliest by rate, as 10% of collisions with moose result in fatalities for the driver. And finally, mosquitoes are the deadliest animal on Earth by far, killing more than 1 million humans every year thanks to diseases like malaria and Zika that they carry. Nobody likes mosquitoes. Let's try to guess if these videos are real or AI. Alright, so we have 3 Asian people laughing. Let me watch this. I think this is actually real. It's pretty natural movement overall. Nope, AI. Okay. Alright, clownfish and an anemone. Alright, I mean this has to be real, right? It looks pretty legitimate. What? How is that AI? Alright, some wheat blowing in the wind. I mean, that looks pretty real. Okay, cool. This is 100% AI. The speed of the camera moving and just like the entire scene. Okay, never mind. A bird about to take flight. I could see this being real. I'm not noticing like any glitching or anything. No. Alright, somehow this is AI. And then some sort of dissolving agent in water. I mean, if this isn't real, I don't know anything. Okay. Alright, there we go. I'm still cooked though. Let's see if you can guess if these videos are real or AI. Alright, so we got a hummingbird. I feel like the detail is too enhanced, so it must be AI. A real video would have like some imperfections to it. Nope. Guess I don't know anything. Alright, a dartboard. It looks pretty normal. and then the dart hits. Yeah, I would say that's real. Nope, AI, okay? Beach yoga. Oh, this is definitely AI. Look at all like the slow movement and stuff. No, somehow real. Wow, this is bad. This ghost is AI for sure. I bet everything on this one. Alright, cool. Got a little nervous for a second. And then, we got a fish just swimming between reefs. I mean, I'm not seeing anything blatantly AI. I guess he's being real. Nope. What do I know? These are the biggest lawsuits ever. So Volkswagen's Dieselgate scandal in 2016 resulted in $14.7 billion having to be paid out to owners for buybacks. More than this, though, is the BP Deepwater Horizon oil spill that same year, which was a $20.8 billion settlement for its damage to the local ecosystem. Even more than this, though, was for Visa and MasterCard, who were charged $38 billion in an antitrust lawsuit from merchants claiming that they charge excessive swipe fees. In 2011, a Texas jury awarded a symbolic $150 billion to the family of a boy who was murdered, though there's not an expectation for that to ever be paid. A big tobacco master settlement agreement involving tobacco companies like Philip Morris resulted in $206 billion paid out to victims to cover their healthcare costs, which is officially the largest official lawsuit in history. Though technically a woman named Antonia Armato sued the city of New York, various banks, and even a Kmart for $2 undecillion because she was bit by a dog, which was dismissed by the judge immediately, but technically holds the record for the largest legal ask in history. That much money doesn't even exist on Earth. These are the biggest one-hit wonders. So after releasing Somebody That I Used to Know, Gotye didn't want fame, so he retired the name, refused to put ads on the YouTube music video, and went back to playing drums in a grassroots band in Australia. This is similar to the band New Radicals that made the hit song You Get What You Give, with the lead singer hating celebrity culture so much that he disbanded the group while the song was still climbing the charts. Psy made Gangnam Style, which was the most viewed video on YouTube for a while, and actually changed how Billboard counts his top songs, but then afterwards never achieved any sort of virality like that again, despite being famous for other songs in Korea. This is the same for the Harlem Shake by Bauer, which also took over the world when it dropped, but he hasn't been able to capture that virality ever since. Vanilla Ice had the first hip-hop song to ever reach #1 on Billboard with Ice Ice Baby, but after facing backlash, he reinvented himself as a home renovation TV host. And finally, in Los Del Rio, the creators of the Macarena have one of the most recognizable songs in history, but unfortunately after tons of remixes and dances that derive from it, the group is overshadowed and never saw a hit song again. It's a great song though. Let's try to guess these celebrities that nobody knows. Oh, I feel like I know this guy. Was he the host of America Says? I have no idea what his name is though. I could have 1,000 guesses and I couldn't get it. John Michael Higgins, okay? I know her, but I have no idea what her name is. Sorry, ma'am. Margot Martindale, alright. I know this guy too. I just watched a movie with him. I think he was in Valentine's Day. He played the old man. No idea his name though. Hector Elizondo, shout out. This is the guy from Wednesday. I don't know his name though. Luis Guzman, I feel like that was guessable, okay? Oh, this is Catherine Hahn. Actually know her, she's in like a lot of rom-coms. Cool. Giancarlo Esposito, Breaking Bad, The Boys, he's a good actor. Feel like people definitely know him for sure. Yep. And then, I love this guy. I don't know his name though. James Hong. Alright. Hopefully never forget that. I probably will though. These are celebrities that own islands, so be careful. So Larry Ellison owns 98% of Lanai, which is the 6th largest island in Hawaii. He purchased it for $300 million and has 2 Four Seasons on there and is a fairly popular tourist spot. Richard Branson owns a $50 million island called Necker Island in the British Virgin Islands that he actually rents out to people for $100,000 per night and has multiple mansions and guest houses supporting dozens of guests. Leonardo DiCaprio owns an island called Blacador Cay in Belize that's meant to be an eco-resort focused on environmental sustainability, while magician David Copperfield has a chain of 11 islands called Musha Cay in the Bahamas that's over 700 acres. Shakira owned a 650-acre island called Bonds Cay in the Bahamas, but she's actually selling it for $30 million because of logistical issues. Tyler Perry and even Johnny Depp also has islands in the Bahamas, with Johnny Depp's called Little Halls Pond Cay that he purchased for $4 million after filming Pirates of the Caribbean. And finally, Jeffrey Epstein's island called Little St. James was sold to a billionaire named Steven Dekoff in 2023 for $60 million, with the goal of becoming a 5-star luxury resort. Would you visit?